reboot. I don't know what it is, but I want one. And certainly a mindset, you know. So what a difference this last couple of weeks has made in our life. Again, big change. You know, our lives have been disrupted. Our livelihoods are somewhat at risk. And the goals that we might have set for 2020 and beyond have been completely upended. So no matter who you are, where you live, or what life stage you're in, we all are having to rethink and reprioritize and reboot the way that we live, work, and communicate. And so let's face it, change is not easy. As a matter of fact, it's hard sometimes. And any transition, you know, whether it's COVID or empty nesting or retirement, all of these require us to shift our thinking from the way things have been to the new normal. And of course, what makes it complicated is we can't predict the future, and we don't even know what that new normal will look like. So at this stage of the game, we didn't know this would be happening to us, but it is. And so that's our reality. And it's easy to get stuck in that negative thinking, especially when we've been quarantined for a couple of weeks now. But it's times like these, or any big transition in our life, so retirement or empty nesting, whatever, it's really important to stay positive and to stay focused so that we can keep moving forward. So that's why Angela and I are here today. That's why we created this together. We want to help you keep moving forward.
Absolutely. And you know, Rita, I think another reason why we're here has nothing to do with COVID-19. Right. Clearly, that is defining the day. Mm-hmm. But it's because of the age that we're at, the life stage that we're at, all of us on this phone. For us, we have accomplished a lot, I'm sure, but there's still things inside of our heart that we want to accomplish as we move forward. So I want to congratulate everybody who made it here today, because this is an opportunity for you to take a very important step to look inside of your heart and pull out those old desires, re-examine them, and say, can I reboot my life and live those desires that have been dormant for so many years? So yeah. We hope you enjoy, and we're going to have a good time today.
Yeah. So Angela, why don't we introduce ourselves? So those of you who, I know quite a few of you on here, but I'm really looking forward to getting to know the rest of you. So I'm Rita Wilkins. I'm also known as the Downsizing Designer, and as an interior design and lifestyle expert for over 35 years, I've had the tremendous privilege of helping people change their lives, making a difference through the world of design. So it was a trip to a third world country a number of years ago that changed my life. And for the first time, I experienced people who had nothing, but they were happy. And so when I returned to my big designer house that, of course, a designer had to have, nothing looked the same to me. It was like the lights completely went out. And all I knew is I wanted that simpler life with less. So I downsized from a very large home to my tiny little jewel box apartment in Philadelphia. I gave away 95% of my stuff to people who either needed it or wanted it. And frankly, I've never been happier. That was why I was called the Downsizing Designer. So I went from a life filled with possessions to a life full of meaning. And my downsizing journey, the reason I tell that story is because it helped me shift my mindset from thinking, like baby boomers did, that I had to have the big house, I had to have all of that stuff, to realizing it wasn't that was what I really wanted. And I didn't need all the stuff to be happy. So by downsizing by 95%, my downsizing journey helped me discover my passion and my purpose. And so today, I have the privilege of helping baby boomers reimagine, redesign, and reinvent their lives, and challenging them, you know, because it is a challenge to disrupt the way life is right now and that status quo thinking, so they can see through the invisible barriers that we create ourselves that stop them from having the lives that they really want. So helping them see through a whole new lens of possibility, a designer's eye, so you can design and live the life that you really want. Anyway, so Angela, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, my name is Angela Heath, and some people refer to me as the gig income guru because I help people look at their existing skill set, repackage it, and reintroduce it into the modern world. We were talking earlier, a couple of us, about being challenged with technology. That's all a part of where we are and where we're going. So I, like Rita, have had an opportunity to work with baby boomers all around the country. I had a really successful consulting practice for about 20 years. And since I'm a gerontologist, I've always worked on baby boomer issues. That was the demographic that I covered. Creating resources and books and training design and so on and so forth. Life was good, but then something happened. At 12 years old, my son, my only son, was diagnosed with cancer. And, it even still, when I say that, it still brings tears to my eyes, but I'm sure you are wondering, he's fine. He's actually 23 years old right now and getting ready to graduate with his master's degree in biomedical engineering. So I'm very proud of him. But back then when that happened, I was just like, oh my goodness. I had to close my firm because I traveled the country and I was not going to leave my child in the hospital alone. So I closed the firm and I had to try to figure out, how do you earn income without showing your face? And I began to look at all of these options online. And I tell you, I tried everything and nothing was working for me until I did what I tell everybody else to do. Look at what's already inside of you. What do you love? What do you excel at? What do people compliment you for? And then look at the marketplace and see where you can insert yourself. And so that's what I do today. I help people figure out what it is inside of them and then how they can repurpose it for the marketplace today. And that tragic story ended helping me to redesign my life so that I could do something that had a little more purpose and meaning.
Angela, I always love your story, and I've heard it a few times, but you're such an inspiration to all of us. Who doesn't have something happen in their lives, right? And it's more a matter of our mindset and what do we do when something tragic happens or just change happens. And so I just love how you've retooled and reinvented yourself many times.
Yeah, Rita, we both, that's how we ended up doing this together, because we both have had to deal with very different things, but we have had some similar experiences in that everything that we have dealt with has caused us to reinvent and to come out with smiles on our faces. So I just love the fact that we both have been able to do that. So let's tell you a little bit about how we're going to approach this session. You probably have already noticed we are recording. We are recording this because within 24 hours, we're going to return this program to you, because you may want to look at it again, because I'm sure there'll be some things that we say that perhaps would be helpful for you, and you can go back and re-examine it. We've also muted all of the telephone lines. And the reason we've done that is because we want to make sure everyone hears the entire presentation. But don't worry, we are going to do questions and answers at the end of the presentation. And we're also going to provide you with ways that you can go further. This is just the first step in the journey. But if you've got a question as we go along, feel free to put it in the chat box. And so when we get to the end, we'll go back and make sure we answer all of those questions. So I'm going to encourage you to have a piece of paper and a pen, or your iPad, or whatever you use to take notes, because we're about ready to get started.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't want to
So-
go forward until I share our promise with you and ask you for something. Rita and I promise we're giving you everything we have. We're not holding anything back. And we ask that you participate with us. You know, be willing to think a little differently. As we go through the process, we're going to be challenging you on some of the repetitive thoughts that you have. And that's the purpose of a reboot, to look at where you are and where you want to go. So we ask you to be open, and we promise we will stay on this masterclass until every question has been answered.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and just to let you know, we're here for you. We are really curious about what you need, what you want. And obviously, you know, we have 100 people that have shown up for this, and we have the other one is almost all sold out for May 13th. So there's obviously an interest, and we just want you to know that we're here to provide valuable content, tools, and tactics that will help you move forward on your journey in this transition, you know, your baby boomer transition that we're all going through right now. So we look forward to being with you.
So we're going to ask you to tell us a little bit about who you are. And we have a poll that I'm just about to introduce. And we will ask you to participate by clicking on, or if you're using your phone, just hit it and vote. So we'll take about 15 seconds or so to vote. And here's our first poll. Your life stage. What life stage are you in? Are you pre-retired, retired, empty nester? Are you ready for some incredible adventure? Whatever it is, tell us, how many of those life stages fit you? Okay, looks like everyone is almost done. Let's take a couple more seconds. Okay, I'm closing the poll. All right, you guys ready to see the results?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so 37% of you are pre-retired, 34% retired, 16% empty nest, and midlife being an incredible adventure, 29%, 24% are feeling lost, and 47, I'm ready for a big change. Sounds like a great audience.
Yeah, that's the place we all want to be. We're ready for a big change.
Okay.
Okay, we have one more poll for you. And this one looks at your business stage. Are you not interested in business, thinking about it, but you don't know what to do? Interested in starting some kind of side house hustle, part-time, etc. But go ahead and vote. What best describes you in your business stage? Just click on the answer that fits best for you. Okay, we'll take about 3 more seconds if you want to vote.
And baby boomers do vote.
All right, so this is interesting. We have 14% not interested in business at all. 24% are thinking about it. 24% are also thinking about it part-time. Jumping into full-time, only 3%, and 35% said they already have a business and they are ready for growth. All right, thank you guys for participating in that.
Yeah, yeah. And so now that we know a little bit more about you and, you know, the audience, I don't know about you, Angela, are you ready to get started?
Let's go.
Okay, so this next slide, my life feels like a test I didn't study for. When I see this slide, I get that anxious feeling in my stomach, like the test that I really didn't study for, or I studied for an English test and I should have studied for a math test. So I don't know about you, but the past month, and actually retirement in and of itself, it kind of reminds me of that funny feeling that I got when I didn't study, or I studied for the wrong one. So, just a few short weeks ago, our world did stop, and overnight, we were asked to shutter our businesses, our schools. We were asked to homeschool and maintain social distancing. So this uncertainty was leaving us wondering, how will we survive, this health and wealth crisis that we're in? And the pandemic has changed our lives forever, but it will end. The sun will come out tomorrow, and businesses and schools will reopen, and we will adapt. We baby boomers always do, and we're going to show them that we can do it again. So while this wasn't exactly what we were looking for at this stage of our life, it's important to notice how we respond, whether it's COVID or any type of change in our lives. How do we respond? So will we just survive, or will we thrive? And guess what? That's entirely up to you. So when you think about maybe how you first responded to COVID, or how you are responding right now to retirement or any other change, maybe death of spouse, something like that, did you panic and do nothing out of fear? Or did you vacillate and maybe second guess yourself and go 1 foot forward, 1 foot back? Or did you pause and stay grounded and take time to reflect so that you can then pivot strategically, taking actions? They may not be perfect. But when you think about in your life, how you have responded to crisis of any kind or big changes, so it could be death, divorce, a job loss, empty nesting, all of these are big changes. Retirement certainly is a big change. How you respond to these unforeseen events that they're unfamiliar, they confront us, they're challenging, and it helps us know a little bit if we observe how we respond, because in these uncertain times like this, it tells us a lot about ourselves. Those choices that we make are based on how we relate to the world and to our lives. So what is the difference between those who will just survive and those who thrive? So Angela, what do you think of that? I mean, and I know you and I have been talking about this for quite a while, but how we respond makes all the difference, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And I think the key factor that you mentioned here that I really want to drive home with our audience is, you notice when you're pivoting, she said, take action, even if it's imperfect. A lot of us will get hung up on trying to be perfect. And I hate to tell us all, none of us are, but we do need to take action.
Yeah. So, the next question becomes is, what is mindset? Is your glass half full, or is your glass half empty? And what lens do you see your life through? How do you think about life? So, those stories we tell ourselves, those little voices in our heads that pop up and say, we're not smart enough, we're not good enough, or why even try because I know I'm going to fail anyway. Or here's another one, life is scary, so I think I'm going to stay exactly where I am in my comfort zone, and then never taking the risk that could move you forward. So these are automatic recurring dialogues that we have in our heads. We can't stop them because they're going to come up anyway, but we have tools for you to prevent them from controlling your life. So these stories we have told ourselves over and over and over again, so we begin to believe them about ourselves. And that belief is what influences, our decisions, how we respond, and choices that we will make, and how we will react, not only in uncertain times, but every single day. So they limit our thinking. So our mindset can keep us stuck and prevent us from, having what we really want in life, or it can help move us forward and propel us to achieving the goals that we really want. So it's a matter really of believing we can or we can't. Now, the good news is that we can choose how we control our thinking. So those disempowering beliefs, if we shift our mindset from a more fixed mindset to a growth mindset, we can actually change our lives. So our thinking does make all the difference. So, and Angela, I know you're going to talk about a couple things in a minute, but let's get into just a really quick exercise. What is a winning mindset?
Rita, before we start that, is it okay if I share with you a couple comments from the audience? Angela and Paul, big shout out. They got it right away. They said all of this is about attitude and mindset. And Celia said something that I really like. She said it's like jumping from one line to the other line. And what we want to make sure happens for us, because we're here, is that we jump into a better line. That's our goal.
Yeah. That's awesome.
You ready for the exercises?
I am. How about you?
Right.
So Angela and I each have a couple of exercises to share with you. The first one is about having a winning mindset. And it's a very quick exercise, and you can do this on all areas of your life. So if I'm going to pick one just for the sake of time today, but I'm going to say career. So if I were to select one area of your life, as one that I most want to improve, and then you rate that, with 1 being, very dissatisfied, and a 10 is awesome and it's off the charts. And then in that career, ask yourself the question, what do I want more of in that area of my life? So more in my career, meaning, okay, I want more opportunity to express myself in the workplace. I want more opportunity to make decisions. I want more opportunity for more growth and mobility. And a lot of us right now are saying, I want more time with my family and less time at work. That's kind of the stage of our life right now. And then the other question to ask is, what do we want less of? I hear this all the time. I'm sure you do too, Angela. Baby boomers, we don't necessarily want to work 24/7 anymore. It's that time of our life. We've already worked hard. We've accomplished a lot. But what could we want less of, and maybe want less 24/7 work? Some of you might say, I want less micromanaging, so that you have more opportunity to make decisions. So this exercise is so simple, but if you take time with it and look at each area of your life, what do you want more of? What do you want less of? And then the big question is, what will it take to make this a 10? So if you're looking at your career and you just said, I want more of this and less of that, to make it a 10, to go talk with your boss and say, look, I want more responsibility. I want to have a voice in this. I matter. And then what you want less of, and oh, by the way, I don't want to work, 5 days a week anymore. I want to work 3 days a week. So it's all about what you ask for. So anyway, so Angela, I know the whole thing is that we can choose how we think, and the winning mindset is what our goal is today, is to all of us take on that winning mindset. But if we don't have a winning mindset, how can we change? And Angela's got a great exercise here. So
okay.
Anyway.
So this is fun. I love this. Reset your mind. I'm going to preface this because there's 4 steps to this. And as we go through them, I'm sure somebody's going to say, this sounds so simple. But let me preface. I think many of you remember the 45s or the 78s. Those records, no matter where you drop that needle, it spins around and around and around and around, and it ends up in the same place. That's what our mindsets are like. If we keep responding, we keep talking, we keep doing very repetitive things, we get stuck in that cycle of sometimes negative. We want to get stuck in a cycle of, as much as possible, positive. So Going into this, I want you to know that this process sounds simple, but it will be a fight. And I'm going to use that word because what it means is that now for many years, you've been thinking one way, and now you're going to challenge yourself to think another way. But you can win the fight. It doesn't matter how long you've done things a certain way, you actually can win. So that first step is to listen to your thoughts. What are you saying to yourself? Are you saying things that are positive, or are you saying things to yourself that are negative? And we're going to give you some examples of the types of phrases that we hear for people who have a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. But this is the first step. Listen to your thoughts. How many of you guys have ever listened to the way you think? If you have, put a Y in the chat box for yes. If you've ever listened to the way you think, you know, we've got a couple people. Charlene says she has. Margaret, Beth, Jane, Angela, and Paul, Jan, Thomas, all of you guys have done that. I'm glad, because you know what? Most people never think about what they're thinking about. So that's the first step. Now, your second step is to choose your reaction. And I'm gonna give you an example. You know, I've struggled to lose weight the majority of my life. And until I found this out and I began to fight with this, I never was losing weight. And I would listen to the thought and say, the chocolate is calling me. I've got to get it. The chocolate is calling me. What was my reaction? I have to get the chocolate. But now I'm actually losing weight because I learned to listen to those thoughts, choose not to agree with them, and then I start talking growth to myself. Instead of allowing the chocolate to control me, I'm now saying, no chocolate for you today, only on Sundays. And guess what I'm doing? I'm taking a growth action. I actually walk out of the kitchen. Have you ever had that situation where you stand at the refrigerator, you open the door, and you're like standing there forever? Right? You need to close the door. That's a growth action. Yep. Close the door and walk away. Rita, what do you think about these 4 steps, right? For resetting the mind step. They work, but they're not automatic, right?
Yeah, and it does take some muscle, right? So if you go to the gym once and expect big results, you're not going to get it. So really, I think it's a matter of being aware. And, you know, that awareness factor, and I was really impressed by the fact that so many people said, yes, they have asked themselves before. And then it's a matter of choice. So for me, one thing that I've always used is been just kind of a mental block. You know, those whack-a-moles you see at the circus, and, you know, something pops up and then you whack it back down, pop up and whack. So when you have those negative thoughts, to be able to choose to whack that thing back down again, it just makes me smile. And, you know, I should probably do that a little bit more in front of the refrigerator. So
many people should. So let's take a look at some of the fixed and growth mindset thinking. So these are some actual statements from some of my clients that I help repackage their current skill set for the new economy. And so when we talk about a fixed mindset, what we're referring to is people who feel like they can't change. Nothing will ever change. People won't change. They won't change. Everything remains the same, but they're unhappy. But they have told themselves over and over again, and sometimes, honestly, it's based on previous experience of things not working. But the mindset is fixed on there's no possibility of growth. And then the other side of that is, yes, there is possibility of growth. So you're not saying that, you know, anything that you would consider negative isn't real. Yes, it is real. But you've made a determination in your mind and in your heart that there's something that you can do about it. There is a possibility. So here's a person who said, I've never tried this. I have tried this before and I failed. I'm sure some of you guys have done that. We all have, right? I'm always reminded that millionaires fail, if you want to call it that, several times before they keep their fortune. But here's a growth statement instead. Let me see what I can do differently than what I did before. We all know if we keep doing the same thing, we'll get the same results, and that's called insanity. But what can you do differently? Another statement, I don't know anything about this. None of us know anything about anything until we start, right? And fortunately for us, we're living in the information age. We can learn almost anything. There's a book for that. There's a course for that. There's Google for that. So we can learn so much of what we currently don't know how to do. I've heard people say this very often. I don't want to waste money. I don't want to waste my money. I need to, do something on the side, but I don't want to waste my money. And a growth mindset is I can find a way to start my business with a reasonable investment. But you've got to think of it as an investment. It's not wasting. This is something that will take you further in your life, fulfill your calling, your passions. I heard a minister say one time that the saddest place to be is the cemetery, not because the people are dead, but because all of their dreams are buried with them. And so you've got to make an investment of time, energy, money in order to go forward. And then I don't have any skills to offer. Trust me, every person on this line has tons of skills, not just what your job description has said. You can do much more than that. So basically what we are talking about is going from, I can't to I can.
So I'd be really curious what our audience is seeing for themselves right here. Is there one area of your life, and I'm going to put myself out there, one is tech. So I'm definitely tech challenged. Maybe some of you are as well. And I'm just curious about, is there one area of your life that you would like to shift over to a growth mindset? Since this all happened a couple of weeks ago, I said, look, I don't have a choice anymore. I've got to really get up to speed. I can't depend on other people anymore. And so it's challenging. What are you challenging yourself to right now to go from fixed to growth?
We've got money mindset, money. Anything else?
Money mindset. Yeah.
Self-marketing. Celia, that's a big issue for a lot of us.
Exactly.
Social media, confidence.
Yeah. Okay. And getting past old mindsets. There you go. Learning new tech. There's quite a few people out there that need new skills, new tech. So thanks for responding. So anyway, but that's what this is all about. So, going from your fixed to your growth.
And Rita, I can't wait. You're getting ready to show us a 5-step process that's really very helpful.
Yeah, so this next process is a design process that I've used as an interior designer all over the country to design interiors. And then several years ago, I said, I wonder if I applied these same design tools and techniques to lifestyle. Because I did it for myself when I was downsizing. I basically took the same tools and said, okay, how can I think differently? How can I act differently? So what I'm sharing with you today are 5-step process to design and build an ideal lifestyle and maybe an ideal lifestyle business. So you were all sent by email a couple of handouts, and Angela and I are going to be working with you on those. So if you pull those out now and maybe work along with me, and maybe you've done some work on this already, but if not, make sure you do later on, because I think it should help you shift your mindset to what could be an ideal lifestyle. Remember, I'm a designer, so I design lives, I design interiors. So that's what this is all about. And I'm sharing those tools with you. So step number 1, what does your ideal lifestyle look like? Now, many of you probably have started thinking about, I'm retiring, what do I want that lifestyle to look like? And this is an opportunity for you to start discerning what matters most to you. So a step number one is to use this gift of time that we have right now to discern what you want, what you don't want, and what matters most to you. So when we gain clarity about that, it's amazing how opportunities start to show up. And rather than getting back on that hamster wheel after this is all over, you actually can use this time to make change, to choose where you want to go and where you want to grow. So why do we use mind mapping? And, as a designer, we're full of ideas, and how do you have all of this and then winnow it down to several really good things that matter most? So a mind map is a way for you to help formulate your vision for what matters most to you, what you want, in this case, what your ideal lifestyle is, but it's a visual tool that we use to clarify your thoughts. And you start to see red threads, and it's certainly an idea generator. It's a simple tool that you can use, and it's both creative and analytical. So if you pull this out, and let's just kind of work through this together. So in the first quadrant, you have experiences. And so if you were to, start by listing experiences you want, and with whom. So this could certainly be in your lifetime, I want these experiences, but what kind of experiences do you want daily? At home and at the office, with your family and friends, with your spouse, your partner. What does your morning routine look like? You have a choice about experiences I want every single day. Maybe it's family dinners at the kitchen table every night. Maybe it's weekend getaways with your spouse, or time with your grandchildren. Write these experiences down because they matter, and all of this will start to build on what is your ideal lifestyle looking like. The next box is things I want. So maybe you want this is my wish. I want a cottage by the lake with those 2 Adirondack chairs and Mr. Right sitting there right next to me. We're having a glass of wine. That's my vision. And that is so crystal clear for me. But maybe for you, it's a big house, the big yard. What kind of car do you want? Maybe starting your own business. So these are things that you want. And when you start seeing yourself having these things, that's when you start to digest, this is my vision, my map for the life I want. The next one is impact. So when you start seeing yourself in the difference that you're making in your life right now and in the future, maybe you want to mentor young adults, maybe you want to start a nonprofit. What matters most to you in that arena? And then the don't want quadrant is equally as important, the other ones. In my case, I did not want a big house anymore. I didn't want the big yard, the expense, or any of that. Maybe some of you are saying, I don't want to work 24/7 anymore. And maybe some of you are saying, I don't want to work for someone else. I want to have my own company. Once you see yourself not having these things, and then seeing things that you do want, that's when you can start using this mind map for what matters most to you. Now, that's so critical because really when you're living in alignment with what matters most to you, life is better all around. It's more fun, and it's just much more satisfying. So we have a second mind map, and we'll go through this rather quickly as well. And please take time with this when you're home. So this one is called Discovering Your Ideal Lifestyle. Now, this would be a mind map we'd use in a design scenario where you look at something like your dreams. If I were doing design, it would be, what is your dream kitchen? And so we dream about that. But dreams that you have, and write these down, that you've had a long, long time, but you've kept them because, it just wasn't reasonable for you to do it when you had kids, when you were, in your full-time career and so forth. And then dreams that you forgot that you had. Now, this is actually very sad, but we all forget that. But dig deep down and see, what dreams did you once have? To own a company someday, whatever. Your why. Now, John Maxwell calls this the why that makes you cry. That's part of your DNA. If there's a part of you that literally you want it so badly, it's such a part of you that it literally makes you cry. So for me, it's about women having a voice, and speaking up and saying what you really want. Your zone. Now, we've all been there where you don't remember breakfast, you don't remember lunch because you are so far into your zone doing exactly what you want to do. You are doing what you want to do, you're loving what you're doing, and you're feeling very fulfilled. So when you know what your zone is, then that's a wonderful place to begin identifying your lifestyle. And then if we jump over to uniquely you, today we might be calling that your brand, what makes you, you. It's a very special place that we all have some unique signature. When you know what that is, it helps you identify what your lifestyle might be like. Then, of course, your strengths. And we all know our strengths. We know our weaknesses. But what are you best at? What do you love being in? And if you can be in that part of your life, like 80% of the time doing things that you really want. And then what matters most to you. So the previous exercise, we were getting clarity around what you want and don't want and living in alignment with that. Now, when we put all of this together, that really becomes your ideal lifestyle. And then at the bottom, what does the world need right now and where can you serve? So spend some time with that, and that may help you, discern what really matters most to you. Now, the second step, why don't you have that? If you say that matters to you, what's been missing in your life that you didn't have that? So sometimes it's, I'm too busy. So, I had to work so hard, so I didn't have time for family dinners, get to my kids' games and so forth. So when you start to look at that, it's going to be a little bit painful because you've allowed this, to be too busy for things that you said matter to you. And then why have you allowed that? When you start looking at mindset, the fixed mindset, well, there's no way that I could not work 24/7. I had to provide for my family. Whatever you might say, that's a fixed mindset. But when you switch that over to, it is possible. I don't have to work that much. And what's so important to me is my family dinners. Fear stops us. We're afraid because we might fail. Being on autopilot and getting, not taking time to really discern what matters. All of those things are things that stop us. So we might say it's time right now, we wake it up and shake it up so that a winning mindset will change that force that we have now, what we say we want. The third step, how can you use your existing talents, skills, and as Angela calls them, the hidden jewels that we already have? So when we take time to close this gap between where we are now and where we want to be, we start to see possibility. And Angela has a fabulous exercise about, how you can see the skills that you have right now that you can start using. The fourth step, what do you need to let go of? We all have to let go of something. And that let go might be those limiting beliefs that are stopping you from and preventing you from having that life that you really want, or the expectations of others. We sometimes let that drive what we're doing, making choices that are in alignment with what matters most to you. And the last design step is, who do you need to be to have the life that you dream of? So when you embrace that new you, that new winning mindset, that new vision starts to appear. This is what I want. This is what I can have. And when you start believing that's possible, you can design and live the life that you love. Anyway, so Angela has a really thanks, Ann. Angela has this
I love this exercise.
I'm sorry I have to rush through it because honestly, when you dig down in this deep, right before your eyes, your whole lifestyle starts to appear, and that's what I want. That's what I could have, and it gets exciting. So now Angela has a tool that I think is really powerful because it's so practical. So I help you dream, and she's in the very practical side of how can you have what you want in this gig economy.
So I want to know how many of you guys know what the gig economy is. I would love for you to put in the chat feature, what do you think the gig economy is? Because I think the media has kind of redefined it. Those of us who work professionally around these issues, we talk about it very differently than what the media says. Anybody know what the gig economy is? I would love for you. No idea. I have no idea, no idea. I don't know. Side jobs, entrepreneurship. Many people saying they're just not sure. Control, underpaid and scattered work. Okay, let me address this. The gig economy is huge. What we hear about all the time is Uber, Lyft, delivery service, hourly workers who are out in the street protesting saying, I'm not a contractor, I'm an employee, I need to get more money. That's one side of it. That's not what we're talking about here today. Today, what we're talking about is the professional gig economy. These are consultants. That's what we used to call it. I had a consulting company for 20 years. And basically it meant I would go out and get contracts. Gig economy is only about contract work. You're not an employee. You have either a project or a given amount of time where you do work. I've gone into people's offices and been like a transition manager, director, while they hired someone else. That was a gig. I've also designed programs for DC government. That was a gig. So I'm talking about using your professional talents and skills when I talk about this gig economy. And then people also think that when you talk about gig economy, you think about people not making much money. I do this exercise when I do workshops that shows the average income for a contractor and the average income in America. And surprisingly, consultants make a lot more money than people who have employment in almost every industry. So you can earn a lot of money. So just very quickly, there are about 1/3 of jobs right now are in the gig economy. And we know with COVID-19, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs and they're going to be looking for ways to survive. The gig economy is one way to do it. Corporations are not going to want to make full-time obligations to staff until they get back on their feet. So just keep that in mind when we talk about the gig economy. So I have this slide that tells you, here's the old way of doing it, consulting, freelancing, you are face-to-face with your client, and here's the new way to do it. We're talking about work from anywhere, work when you want to work, freedom and flexibility, and technology makes all of that possible. The majority of people who work in the gig economy love it. I'm talking about the professionals who are earning a decent amount of money and working whenever they want. So you should have gotten this handout. It's called your gig assessment, generating ideas for gigs for contract work. And I hope some of you had a chance to complete it. And because of time, I was going to ask for a volunteer, but I would be happy to talk to anybody at a later time and walk you through this. So I'm going to just give you an example of what that can look like. Thomas says, I was an independent HR administrative consultant for 12 years. I forgot, but it was fun. And I got to be a stay-at-home dad, and that was cool. Yeah, I've been independent my whole life, and I love, controlling my time. I might work in the middle of the night and sleep in the morning. Okay, so this is the tool that you guys should have gotten. And basically, there's 2 parts to this. The first part is your brilliance. Take a look at your brilliance. What are the talents, the hard skills, hobbies, experiences that you have had? Because the problem with baby boomers, we've done so much, but we tend to forget it. So think way back to times when you were younger and list all of that. And then on the side where we see apply my brilliance, you take each one of those skills, you plop it in the center of that graph, and then you start asking yourself, what can you create? What can you complement? What can you improve? What can you speed up? You ask yourself that. Now, the key to making this really work well is to think across industries. You know, if you've worked in the financial industry your whole entire life and you want to go over to the nonprofit industry, many of those same skills will transfer over there. So you have to think very broadly. One very quick example of this. One lady that I worked with got laid off, upset. And she was trying to think of, I want to do something, but I don't know what I want to do. So we looked at the fact that she was just a superb designer. And she started a staging business with furniture from her own house, from her house and a friend's house. She started that. It took off like wildfire with one real estate broker. Then she said, I said, you know, you are working with all of these people, helping them dig out their basements. You know, you're working with the construction company. I wonder if you could do that as another part of your business. I was her first customer, and now she's had a construction company for 5 years, never knew anything about construction, and she just hit her $1 million year last year. So you can take your skills and you can take them to different places to help you.
Mm.
So that was quick.
Yeah.
That was quick, but we want to conclude by giving you just a couple thoughts, but I'm going to encourage you to hang around again. We are committed to answering every question, and we also have some resources for you to continue forward on this journey. Rita, what are your thoughts in conclusion?
Well, just some real quick takeaways. You know, your word does create your world. So when you say you can, and when you say you can't, you can't. So every time that little voice comes in your head, just say, no, I'm not going to deal with that. So, and I guess, you know, change invites change. So this is actually an opportunity for you to create a new you, a new mindset. And when you believe that it's possible that you can do that, anything is possible. And so you can design and live the life that you love.
Exactly. And, you know, my concluding thoughts are this. You know, we've gone through some tools that you can use at any point in time to help you think about what is inside of you. Where do you want to go? What do you need to go from here to there? There are some dreams inside of you that you can resurrect, and you can create the kind of life, the kind of business that you really want, that will not only use your skills and talents, but it will also help you feel more fulfilled, more purposeful, and you will be able to help others. So don't ever limit yourself and think that you can't, because remember, we all have growth mindsets now, and you can.
I love that. Yeah. So, Angela, I know you have an offer to, you know, have people continue, you know, on this learning curve, and I do too. So, just want to talk to you just for a minute about a new quick start coaching program that I developed around designing the life that you love. And so, many of you are here for a reason. You know, some of you, we did a survey and some of you said, you know, Reboot was very interesting to you, a winning mindset and a new you. So you're here for a reason. I'm going to guess that some of you, and I could tell this a little bit from the survey, some of you are stuck. You're just not sure what's next. And that can be exciting. It can also be scary. Some of you are just really ready for a fresh start, you know, something brand new and exciting at this stage of our lives. And then another component might be that, you know, given the current circumstances and the economy, maybe some of you are wanting to figure something out, maybe pretty quickly. So how can you do that? So I have to tell you, I totally get this. And I get being overwhelmed. It's entirely possible, especially when you're, you know, you're in this kind of situation. It can be a little bit hard and it can be scary. So sometimes you just need a little hand up and a little help or boost to get you through this and to discover what's possible for you. I know this is true because just a few weeks ago, before the coronavirus struck, my team and I had been talking about working remotely and creating some online platforms to serve our clients. But suddenly, and actually overnight, we didn't have a chance anymore. I mean, we didn't have a choice anymore. We had to do it. So as a baby boomer who is tech challenged, I have to say, I was terrified. And this is just a couple weeks ago. But fortunately, I have a coach, and my coach helped me stay calm, create a vision, to do my design steps, and plan strategically to pivot my business and to some extent my life. And so I probably would have wasted some precious time and been stuck and afraid. So instead, I'm really excited about this new opportunity, this new phase and new reinvention in my life and my business. And there have been so many other times in my life that I've had the opportunity to have a coach who helped me provide a structure, accountability, and help me get the results that I wanted. So I'm here to help you with that. I can work with you one-on-one on my Quick Start coaching program to design the life you love. And I'll go over that with you in just one second. But I have to say that I have limited availability just because there's just so many people that I can take. So if you're ready to roll up your sleeves, do the heavy lifting, do the work to make the results happen that you want to have happen in your life. And that I can help you achieve what you want in your business, in your life, to design that if that's where you're ready to go. So I have two programs. One is a 1-month program. I call this a hyper-focused on one goal. So in 30 days, if you want to get from here to there, we have 4 1-hour coaching sessions via Zoom, Skype, and ideally it would be in face-to-face, but that's not happening right now. So the email and the tech support throughout the time, a lot of worksheets, goals, actions, and every single week we have measurable results. So you're always seeing progress toward that one specific goal. And then of course, a lot of additional resources and tools. Normally this would be $1,200 for a limited time. We're offering it at $750, and also a bonus is I'm including in 1 additional hour of coaching. And the second program is the 3-month program. So again, you can focus on one goal or several goals, but 12 1-hour support sessions with you, a pre-assessment where you are now, where you want to go, and then the weekly worksheets and so forth, and all the resources that you need. Normally, I would be charging $3,600 for this, and for a limited time, the $2,250. And with that, 1 extra bonus hour and also a strategy session. If you are interested in that, there's a link there, designservicesltd.com/coaching. I would love the opportunity to coach you and see if we can get you from where you are now to where you want to be in the future.
Thanks, Rita. That's a great offer. I hope some people can take advantage of it. And I also have an offer. I call it your hustle income plan. Don't be taken aback by the term hustle. I wrote a book called Do the Hustle Without the Hassle. So that's sort of like a term I use, but basically it's starting a business. And with this program, I know that many of you are wondering, what can you offer in the marketplace? Again, that gig assessment tool is going to help you. It's going to help you think really very broad about what you can do. I mean, I've seen people go so far outside of their paid work to start side businesses. An attorney who sold a baseball class and made something like $140,000. I've seen a quilter sell her as a hobby, sell her work to corporations, and they're displaying it. So what can you offer the marketplace? And it's far more than what your last job description said. How do you package it where do you get started? And then how do you create that plan for revenue? And I know for a lot of people who've always had jobs, doing something on the side or starting a new business can be pretty scary because you may not know all of the steps that are involved. And that's why I created this package. I specialize in working with people who are baby boomers, who are now interested in moving forward with what they want to offer in the marketplace. So I'm offering a training, your Hustle Income Plan. It's 3 sessions, May 20th, 27th, and then June 3rd from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And it's going to answer all of those questions for you and really get you prepared to make your offer in the marketplace. And let me tell you what that all includes. The price for this is only $5.99, and that's the 3 Side Hustle Income Plan training program, which is 90 minutes. I'm going to give you another offer for free, which would bring that total original price up to $9.99. So this actually is a very good deal. And honestly, I've never given this deal out before. But I do realize that we're in the COVID-19, and I do realize that a lot of baby boomers, they don't know it yet, but they're already laid off. When they go back to work, they will find out because age discrimination in employment. So what this program does is going to help you clarify the irresistible offer, an offer that people are really looking for, and you can find your dream client. You're going to understand how they talk, what they want, so that you can give them what they want. Attracting your customers with a simple service package, as well as a sales funnel. Now that sounds like a fancy term for those of you who have never done sales, but it's just a way, especially online, how you attract your customers, develop relationship with them, and then they become customers who will buy repeatedly for you. I have a process to help people launch quickly because I don't believe in wasting money. I don't believe in wasting time. And fortunately, I hung out with enough millennials to find out exactly how to do this. So it's a quick launch program. I use lean approaches, meaning you don't have to spend a lot of money, a lot of DIY tools, because I believe if you want to, everybody doesn't want to, there are things you can do yourself. They're simple, they're inexpensive to get you started on your way. You know, if you want to hire someone and you can afford it, great. If you don't, we've got resources for you. So what you get with this is your Hustle Income Planning Guide, which is a step-by-step 30-page document that takes you from soup to nuts. You also get 2 series of checklists. So your business startup, your social media startup, you don't have to worry. Am I missing something? You've got it all laid out step by step. You also get plan your sales funnel. Again, a checklist. You don't have to worry. Am I screwing something else? You just follow the checklist. And then here's the real interesting bonus. This is my Do to Hustle Quick Start webinar, which I'm giving this to you for free. I normally sell this for $249. It's based on my book. And this is about the online gig marketplace. Now, the reason I put this whole package together for you guys is because you get both. With the Hustle Income Plan, you can use this for consulting, freelancing, face-to-face work if you like. With the Do the Hustle Quick Start, it's all about using the online gig marketplace. You don't have to spend a dime. You already have all the tools you needed. You've got your talent. You've got a computer. You can earn income online. And again, you know, when you add both of these packages together, $5.99 bargain price is about 60% off what I normally charge. And there is a link down at the bottom of this sheet if you are interested. But I'm going to encourage you guys, and I want you to keep this recording and come back to it because I'm pretty sure that as we go forward with COVID, some people are going to change their mind about having a little side hustle in case things don't pan out the way we would prefer. And some people are going to decide, I don't even want to go back to work. This break was just too good. So these are our offers.
Yeah.